Alright, 13A, let's correct and get this bad boy. Knock this out.
Let's do it, Miss Sean.
No,
What? I'll just say my food. Okay.
you don't want it to lead to something worse. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
High hopes for this test. Very high hopes. Anybody else?
I have high hopes for this test too. I think I do pretty good.
This one is easier than the last. I'm gonna go on record as saying so. Okay, find the answers. All right, 13A. Again, I will try to post this if you really want to study again today. When you get home, I'll try to post this whole thing for your viewing enjoyment. Number one, Ella Bromlin would be
$121, and the final was $99.
I have a discount of $44
Yes.
and a new price of $176. What's your thoughts on that?
I highly agree.
Yes.
This would be last year's picture, I think.
And actually turned on green.
Number two, Evan Sittler,
3 times the square root of 3.
3 times the square root of 3. Number three, Jax.
Y squared equals 49.
That's y squared minus 49. There's no equals. Y squared minus 49. 4, everybody was confused on, but I think they got it. You just don't know. Simple. London.
5y to the 6th power.
Or 8xy cubed minus 6x squared y minus 10xyz.
Ooh, yeah.
That's why we ask questions, I guess. Number 5, Katerina.
7m squared minus 2m squared n minus 4m squared n squared.
I have, you can put the 3 and the 7 together, the 4 and the 7 together, you get 3m squared n squared minus 2m squared n.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Number 6, were you just supposed to graph that?
Yeah.
It crosses at x is 1 and y is negative 3. X intersect was here, y was negative 3. The line would look like such. So far, so good, it seems like everybody seems to be having fun. Sophia, number 7,
9 inches.
9 inches. Number 8,
Oops.
David,
12,306 is less than or equal to n times 3,000.
yeah, that's what I have as well. 12,306 is less than or equal to 3,000 n. I suppose you could flip that around. I'm not sure what question 8 asked you, but 3,000. Didn't ask you to solve it, it just asked you to write it down.
Translate the sentences below into any column.
Number 9, Hope,
60.
60 degrees. It's my hope that you get that right. Number 10, Ava. What did 10 ask you for? Maybe I should pull it. Did it ask you for an equation?
Slope intercept.
Slope-intercept form.
Wait, then is it negative 2 equals 2x plus b?
I have y equals 3x minus 8. Is that not right? Wait, did I flip too many pages? No.
No, that's right.
Number 11. I don't even know what they asked, just to make a 7-leaf plot?
Yeah,
Do I have to write that out?
it literally took me like, that one problem took me like 10 minutes.
You don't have to write it down.
So this is what it would look
It
like.
could be
Here's
like
your
3 lines
stem,
though.
here's your leaf. Remember, the leaf is just the last digit. So as you would do this, the stems were 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then all these other things were what? 0, 2, 5, 5, 5, 8. Do I have to do all of these? That would be that would stand for 10, 12, 15, 15, 15, 18. The other one was, oh boy, 1, 0, 2 2s, a bunch of 4s,
3 4s.
3 4s, a 6, a 8, a 9. I'm sure if you got this part, you got the rest right. So if you got that, you got that. I'm not gonna pick any. 4, okay. Number 12, Sam Petzold.
Y is -3, X is 3.
So far, so good. 12, X is 4, Y is -6. 4 comma -6. 13, Kayla. 3 and 4 is correct. Benjamin, in point slope form.
Question mark.
You do, did you happen to look in your notes under point slope form, or no?
No.
It gives you the exact formula, Ben.
That pretty much said exactly what I was thinking. All you had to do is plug the things in. It's really a no-brainer if you have that formula there. Amelia, how about number 14?
Y minus 2 minus
Equals,
minus 6 in the parentheses x minus 1.
correct. Y minus 2 equals -6, and then in parentheses x minus 1. 15, Lexi.
2.
2. 16, Elijah.
72.
72. 17. Back to Ella for a chance. A second chance at life here. What's that?
Oh my god.
See, Evan, welcome to my world.
Well, I don't really get the I guess too.
Evan, 17.
X is 3, Y is 4.
I just have X is 14. Again, I don't have a 12 inside. 18, I said you could skip. 19 should be 2c squared d, and then a parenthesis with d squared plus c squared inside of it. And number 20, ladies and gentlemen, and kids of all ages, should be y equals 4x. Y equals 4x. Y equals 4x. Y equals 4x. These would be the times that y minus 4x. That's what I thought. So much time and so little time to do it. Questions over answers before we go any farther into this bad boy. Zoe, 14, as best I know, is y minus 2 equals -6 times in parentheses x minus 1. And that would come from when you look at your notes under point slope formula. I would gather whatever else you need for your notes here. Should we just start at number 1 and move?
Yeah.
Do this in some sort of systematic way?
Yeah.
Good, that's what I think here.
And you want the flip the pages.
Yes, it would be by far more economic. All right, so number 1. How many people got, let's just take a random straw poll. Who got number 1 right?
Ben even got it right.
Oh, well, let's not do that.
I got 11.
What?
I got 11.
You did you? All right, again, the easiest way to do this is simply to make your percent box. And this is a discount or a price increase. It is a sale, so it's a discount. So you start with your original price minus your discount, and that'll give you the final price. Here's your percent, and here's your actual dollars. It was 20% off. Original is always 100, so you're gonna end up paying 80% of what that cost was. the pair, it originally cost $220. So there's all you need to know. It didn't ask you how much you're getting off, did it? Oh, it did ask you what the discount is. So once you find one, you can find the other by subtraction or whatever. So doesn't really matter. Let's just do this one. 100 over 80 equals 220 over what number?
Put 20 instead of 80 on the bottom.
I'm gonna change that. And again, I would simply reduce this to see if you can figure out what times what gives you that. Divide it by 10 gives you 10 over 8. Yeah, that would work.
No, Ellie, you could do either way.
Because 10 times what is 220? 22, right? Oh, no, that doesn't work. Sorry, let's cut it down again. Cut it in half, you get 5 over 4. 5 times what is 220? 44. If you didn't like that, what can you just do? Cross multiply. 5 times what number is, what, 22 times 4? Is that right? No, 220 times 4, 880. If you did that division, you are going to get 5 goes into 181, 38, 176. Is that what it was? Can you help me? Yes? Or do I have to actually do that?
Yes.
176. Subtract those two and you'll get the discount, which was what, 44. Ta-da. Number 2, square root of 27. You can ignore this using perfect squares because that's really what we do anyways. It just confused most of you. Basically, they're saying this. If you're finding the square root of 27, it's simplest to figure out what perfect squares are ones that work out, would give you 27. Well, the square root of 9 times the square root of 3. This is a perfect square because it works out. The square root of 9 is 3. This one you can't factor anymore, so the answer is 3 times square root of 3. I think we need to change colors just to lighten the mood in here. Number 3, ladies and gentlemen, is FOIL. First out, inner, last. The 2 first terms, y times y is y squared. The outside term, negative 7 times y is negative 7y. The inside term is plus 7y, and then the last term, negative 7 times positive 7 is negative 49. And in this case, the 2 middle terms, when you combine them, drop out because they're opposites. You're just left with y squared minus 49. Stop me if you need me to slow down or go somewhere else. I've been told I write too fast. Problem number 4, ladies and gentlemen, there's no equal signs. The only thing you can do is do the distributive property, which means you're just multiplying this negative 2xy times all 3 of those terms. So if you do such a thing, that would make it bigger. Why not? Negative 2xy times negative 4y squared. The negative times the negative is a positive. Hate this thing. It's a positive 8xy cubed. The 2 y's go together to give you the y cubed. Negative 2 times the positive 3 there is going to give you a negative 6. X times x is x squared. You still have this y. Again, a negative times a positive there is negative 10. 2 times 5, x, y, z. Uh-oh.
Okay, so say if they start you out with negative 2x squared, or negative 2xy squared, then would you times it so it'd be 4? And when it
Technically, no, you add it, and it makes it 4.
Okay,
You
well,
only multiply exponents when it is an exponent to an exponent. When you're multiplying a y times a y squared, you are adding this. If this would have been a y squared, then you'd add 2 plus 2, this would have been 4. If this was a y cubed, it's 3 plus 2, and it's 5.
so you're adding next.
Adding exponents when you multiply them. Okay. You multiply exponents when you have something like y squared to the 3rd power. Exponents to exponents is when you multiply them. When you're just multiplying a y squared times another y, you have. Evan, that was such a good question. Slowly but surely working your way back up to most favored status. This one here, children, what do I have to do? Just look for letters that have the same exponents. You are combining, putting things together. In order to put them together, you have to have an m squared, n squared for this one. Are there any other m squareds, n squareds? No. No. Yes. It could be n squared, m squared, doesn't matter. But what do you get if you have 7 of them and then you take 4 of them away? You are simply left with only 3 of them. And they're still just m squared, n squared. Variables don't change, just combining. This is an m squared n and that's an m squared n. You start with minus 5 and you add 3. You end up with, David?
-2.
2 m squared n. Dramatic pause. Benjamin, any questions on that?
Just keep going.
That's what I like to hear. Forge ahead. The equation y equals 3x minus 3 is in slope-intercept form. This one just said to graph it. Remember when you have y-x slope-intercept, this is the slope of the line. And this is where it crosses the y-axis. So if you're graphing it, first thing you do is find out where it crosses the y-axis, -3. And from there, the slope is 3/1. Positive slope, so it goes uphill. So it's negative slope, it would go downhill. This is positive. Up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 1. Up 3, over 1. Up 3, over 1. Hope that you're not, but that's not so bad. Benjamin, good?
Mm-hmm.
You get that one right, Ben?
No.
Really?
I didn't put 3 over 1.
Say who?
For the slope, I didn't put 3 over 1. I just kept it 3. So it turned out.
This one, again, should not be any trouble for you. The translator just means change it into a math thing, take away all the words. 12,306 is less than or equal to, product means multiplication, 3,000 times whatever. And
You skipped 7.
I did too. I was up there, it looked like I was at the top of the page.
On the bottom.
All right, well, that's, I don't see it. Oh. Problem number 7, you would have to know this. We were talking about a cube. What is the formula for the volume of a cube? What's the formula for any rectangular prism? Length times width times height. The gist is, though, ladies and gentlemen, what is specific about a cube? What makes a cube a cube? All the sides are the same. So in math, we don't usually call this our formula for a cube. Usually, we say volume equals side times side times side, or volume equals side cubed. This is what you will see in math books about it. They told you what the volume was. The volume of this thing is 729 cubic inches. Ben, would that be a big engine in a car or not? 729 cubic inches.
In a car?
Yes.
Which car really about? Wait,
So
so
young.
it'd be a
So
CC.
young, huh?
so
Oh, you would need CCs? They don't do CCs in that. Although they
Yeah.
do kind of. A 5 liter engine is 5,000 CCs.
so
This would be twice the size of any engine they put in any car. Back to this.
never mind.
Trying to help you for your future career when you talk about those things. So the basic gist of this, ladies and gentlemen, if the volume is S times S times S, you need to know S times S times S, what times itself 3 times gives you 729. And there is no easy way to do it, it's all trial and error. Let's start with 3s, just to see if we get close. If you multiply 3 3s times themselves, you're only gonna get 27, so that's pretty low. So maybe I would go with 5. 5 times 5 is 25 times 5 is 125. We're still pretty low. What if I did, what, 6s? Can we just go to the answer? What, 7? What's 7 times 7 times 7? 7 times 7 is 49. 49 times 7 is 63, 28. Oh, that's too low. Wait, are we in the 10s or 12? What is it?
9.
What?
9.
Oh, 9 times 9 is 81, and 81 times 9, yes, in fact, is 729.
All right.
What's that?
Is it all right?
Well, the answer to this was 9. Every side had to be 9 inches. Now I can go on to number 9? I'm going at hyperwarp speed here, sorry. I would write down, if I were taking notes on number 9, the key there that these shapes are similar.
We're on 8.
No, we're not.
No, we did 8, Ben.
10. I did. Similar shapes
Ben, were you not paying attention before?
have
We skipped it before. We skipped 1, 6, 8,
proportional
7.
sides. Similar shapes have proportional sides, which means this. How do I go from the small to the big? 4 times what is 2? Or 4 times what is 8? 2. So everything is going to be times 2 from the smaller to the big. But that's not what they asked you. They asked you about the angles. Similar shapes have equal angles. The corresponding sides on similar shapes are equal. In other words, see this little square thing? This corner is 90 degrees, just like this corner is 90 degrees. This corner is 30 degrees, so the corresponding side over here is also 30 degrees. If this is 60 degrees, and then measure of angle B is 60 degrees. By the way, that's what this means. The smaller case M in mathematics, in math, the letter M just means measure of angle B. How many degrees is that? Measure of angle B. And it's the same as this measure. How big would this, oh wait, we don't even know. They don't give us either one of these sides, so you really won't be able to figure out what either of those sides are. Unless, well, you could using, forget it. Can I move on, Ben?
Wait, that's all you have to do? Look at the other triangle?
If they ask you that, I don't know what maybe they'll ask you what side length is. But side length, if they asked you for side length, you do a ratio box. If they were asking you, if they asked you to give another side, you would compare the big triangle to the small triangle. And you compare maybe the hypotenuse to the short side, and you fill in those blanks. You can't do it here because they didn't give us either one of the corresponding sides there, so you don't know what that would be. Although, what's this here for? Oh, that's letter D. Number, this one is one we just did.
Yeah.
Write the equation in slope-intercept form of a line that passes through 2, -2 and is parallel. Key there is, and what do we know after the 6th quiz that asks you what we know about parallel lines? They have what? What is their slope? Same. So this doesn't matter. We don't care about the y-intercept. We care about the slope. The new line we're going to get is going to look like this. Y equals 3x. We need to figure out where it crosses the y-axis. You need to figure out the letter B. And in order to figure out letter B, you have to take the points they give you you have to take the 2 and the -2, put it in for y and for x, and figure out what the letter b is. So y is right here. This is -2. That equals 3 times what x is, and that'll be plus b. -2 equals 6 plus b. Solving for b, I subtract 6. And everybody knows that -2 minus 6 is, before somebody jumps in, -8. Am I done? Am I done?
Basically.
No. Not what it asked me. It didn't ask me for the y-intercept, it asked me for
The equation.
equation of a line. So you have to take this equals this plus that. This is what they asked you for. Y equals 3x minus 8. They asked you for that equation. We had to do all this gobbledygook so that we could figure out that letter B. Now, if it asks you for perpendicular, ladies and gents, how is that gonna change?
You just flip the slope.
Well, instead of this being the slope we would use, we'd have to flip it over and make it negative. I would have had to use -1/3 x there. It says parallel, it's the same. If it's perpendicular, you flip it over, it's the opposite. Oh, is this about Delilah's? Wait, do I have to do this one or no?
No.
Somebody say yes.
Yes.
I do?
No.
Yes.
No.
I mean,
Yes.
just know this. They asked for a stem and a leaf plot. The leaf is always the last digit. So if you're breaking up 10, first of all, you gotta look at all your numbers. I only have, at the beginning of these, I only have 1 through 4. So my stems are all gonna be 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if I'm doing a 10, it's a 1 with a 0, so I have to put a 1 with a 0. A 48 would be a 4 with an 8, and I put the 8 way over there because I probably got lower 40s than that. 36 is a 3 and a 6. 38, 3 and an 8. 15, 1 and a 5. 12, tell me when I can stop, Jack.
What if it's in the hundreds?
If it would be in the hundreds, a very legit question, you would have, your stem would be a 10. Like 108 would be 108. Whatever comes, the leaf has to be the last digit. If there's a bunch of numbers in front, they have to go in the stem part of it. Can I stop there, then? 42, you're doing that, 4 plus a 2. Can we turn the page?
Yeah.
I think the backside is easier, isn't it? What?
I don't.
I think there's some very easy problems in there. Ooh, they did give you a hard substitution one, didn't they? Not really that hard. Ava Russell, rule number 1 when we solve by substitution is to do what? You got a 3x, a y, a 2x, a y, 3y. Which one is most logical to solve for a letter? This one, because the y is all by itself. And what am I going to do? Yeah, I need to get this 3x to the other side, so I subtract 3x. Which means I get 6 minus 3x. So forget about this original equation now. This is your new equation you're working with. And this tells you what you substitute in for y down here. So it becomes, I still have the 2x plus the 3 times what the y I found up there, which is 6 minus 3x, still equals -10. Then hopefully you can do the math from there. 2x distributive property plus 18 minus 9x equals -10. Am I okay there? Everybody kind of got that? Did I do something wrong? Yeah, that's right so far. What do we got here? I can put my x's together. -9x and 2x is -7x's. I need to subtract my 18, subtract my 18, I get negative 28. Then solving for x, divided by negative 7. Negative 28 divided by negative 7 is x equals positive 4. Am I done?
No.
Now I just need to find out what y is. Easiest place to do that is take your 4, put it in for x right here, and you'll get what y equals. Negative 3 times that 4 is negative 12, plus that 6 there. Y would equal negative 6. Thought they let me know? Oh, I love elimination. Watch how incredibly easy this is. You gotta look for opposites. Unfortunately for you, right here they are. I just combine them, put them together. A negative 3 and a positive 3, these go away. 6 and 2, I have 8 y's equal 15 and 7, 32. Divide by my 8, divide by my 8, and y equals 4. Now solving for the other one gets a little more complicated because it's not. Somebody, which one? Top one, bottom one? Really? So I'm gonna write it out because I don't wanna cut any corners. Plus 2y equals 17. I know that y is 4. Plus 2 times 4. What in fact is 2 times 4 but 8? Subtract my 8 to get it over here. Oh, look, I get 9. 3x equals 9. Divide by 3, divide by 3. X equals 3. X equals 3 tacos.
All right.
Ben, am I still good? Gosh, did I push record? I hope I did. That'd be bad if I didn't. I should check. Did it say recording? Yes. Right in point slope, ladies and gentlemen, I can't help you if you can't help yourself. I couldn't tell you what the point slope formula is. I have to look at it all the time. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it is this. If you look in your notes, it says the point slope form is y minus y sub 1 equals the slope times x minus x sub 1. Or maybe there's 2's in there. I don't know.
No, that's fine. That's it.
But they give you everything you need to know. They tell you this is the slope. So for the slope, I put negative 6. They give you the y point, they give you the x point. You just put those in. This in for y, put it in for the second y. Equals 6. First x is x, second x is 1. And that's all you do. They give you everything, you just gotta plug it in and make a formula out of it. I can't imagine you getting that wrong. Can you?
Unless you make a note.
Is there a chance to get it wrong? I suppose you'd have to be a little careful, children. I mean, if this would have been 1 minus 2, if you'd have put a negative 2 in for y right here, a negative 2 would actually make that a plus 2. So you have to be careful with your minuses and pluses. If it's a negative in the point, it's going to be positive down here. If it's positive, moving on. This one, ladies and gentlemen, also the only thing I'd write down for this is what will make the denominator, which is the bottom, 0, because you cannot have that. That's why it's called undefined or excluded. You only look at the bottom, doesn't matter what's on top, you look at that and you say, if x is what number would x be to give me a 0 on the bottom? What number minus 2 gives you 0? 2. That's what it can't be. Technically, you should just cross it off and say, I can't get a 2 down there. That's it. That's the excluded value, it's the undefined value, what you can't have.
Okay.
How easy is that? Is there another problem down here?
Yeah.
Am I speeding along your break next week? Jimmy visits the Baba every 9 days, Ralph does it every 24, and Pete visits every 12 days. If all three visit the Barbara at the same day, how many days will it be? I think I mentioned this to you before. Anytime they give you a reoccurring thing and they ask you when will they all happen together, it is the least common multiple. You just need to take 9, 24, and 12 and figure out how do you find the least common multiple of a bunch of numbers or that? First of all, you need to factorize it. What times what gives you 9? 3 times 3. What times what gives you 24? 2 times 12, and 12 is 2 times 6, and 6 is 2 times 3. 8 times 3 is 24. And what gives you 12? 2 times 6, which is 2 times 3. Do I need to do that more than that? Do we do a factor tree or a division by 5 sometime?
Wait, only take the most of each one, right?
And then you look at each group and you take the most times whatever factor happens there. In other words, if I'm looking at 3s, this has the most 3s, so I take it. I take 2 3s. This one has the most 2s, so I take that. There are no other factors there. So your answer is what you get when you multiply these all out, which is the same as 9 times 8. Would be 72. Whose hair grows fastest? Apparently Jim. Not a question. Inverse variation, again, should not be that hard. What is the inverse variation equation? That's 17,000. Jax?
5 times x 500.
I'm saying when you have these points, I think you're giving me I guess that is the inverse. That's one we need for number 20. 17 and 20 are a little bit different. This is inversely proportional. This is what you should have written down for this. X sub 1 times y sub 1 equals x sub 2 times y sub 2. Yeah.
So I got confused and I YouTubed that and it gave me a different formula to use.
If your formula works, by all means, you go with however you want to go with. In this case then, ladies and gents, you just need to plug the numbers in with some parentheses. And make sure you label these. The first two given, y is 8 when x is 7, so I would probably call these y sub 1 and x sub 1. Find x, which I don't know, these would be the x sub 2's. So 8 times 7 equals some number times 4. 7 times 8 is 56, and that equals 4 times whatever. If you do the division, 4 goes into 56 14 times. Now, you could check yourself on that because what does inverse variation mean? Inverse variation means that when one number goes up, the other number goes down. So if you looked at this and what happened to y? Y went from 8 down to 4. If y goes down, then x should go up. Did x go up? Yes. Matter of fact, if you think of it in opposite terms, y was cut in half, so x is going to be double because it's the opposite of what happened to the other one in the other direction. I think that would help you out, but that's what this little equation says. Good point, sir. Thank you. You're welcome. Last one. Was that just 18?
We didn't do it.
Did I flip to a whole different, this can't be yours, is
That's
it?
not ours.
I was gonna say, that was nuts. I'm not gonna spend my time. You could probably guess though what the outlier would be, but there's a formula that we haven't done and I'm not gonna spend my time on it. Number 19, factor that completely. 19 is reverse distributive property. So you have to look for what are their common factors. Or their greatest common factors, I guess. So looking at the numbers, what's the biggest thing you can take out of a 2 and a 2? 2. Here you have 2 C's and there you have 4 C's. What is it that they both have in common? Please don't say 4, because this one doesn't have 4. They don't have that in common. Yes, they have 2 C's in common. This one has 3 D's, pardon the pun, and this one has 1 D. What do they have in common? Just 1 D. And then, ladies and gentlemen, you're not done because it said to actually factor it out. This is the greatest common factor, but you actually have to factor it out and get what's left when you take it out. If I take this out of all that, well, I've already got the 2, I've got the 2 C's, but I am missing how many D's? 2 of them. I need a D squared. And here, I have the 2, I have a C squared, but I need a C to the 4th. So I need a C squared, I have the D already, so this is it. Uh-oh,
So like, if we move the columns, there's just like they put like another letter.
just speak up, I'm a tad bit deaf on this one.
If they put like another letter that was not in the other column,
Like an F here,
yeah.
then there would be an F here. If they don't both have an F, there won't be one outside here. You just tack it on forever. If they put a Q over here, you put another Q there. Put a T over there. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, number 20. In Blake. This is what I would write down for number 20. This is what I think Jack was saying. The direct variation equation is actually this: y equals kx, where k is the constant of variation, is what stays the same. It really, in layman's term, ladies and gentlemen, you are just saying, what do I multiply x by to get y? 4 times what is 16? 4. So my equation just ends up being y equals 4x. If that doesn't float your boat, do this, Sophia, because I can tell you're kind of looking at that. Let me change the numbers. What if it was 3 and 5? Because that's really hard to figure out. If you don't know, just like we did when we plugged those numbers in to find the letter B in the linear equation, put this in for x right here, put this in for y right there, and solve for what the letter k would be. So it would look like this: 5 equals k times 3. How would you figure out what k is? You would divide by 3. You would divide by 3. K equals 5/3, so you put 5/3 right there. Y equals 5/3 times the constant of variation.
I guess it makes sense.
To you, Adam, that's 75% of everybody else.
I don't get this.
I mean,
Which one?
The 20.
it's
Let me
just,
do it again? Say yes.
Sure.
Alright. Let's say the point, Sophia, was 7, 12. The constant of variation for direct variation is what you multiply x by to get y. So if this is your x, 7 times what gives me 12? And again, that's not easy. If you can't do it, I mean, if it was 7 times what gives you 28, so what would it be? 4. So y equals 4 times whatever x is. That's your equation. But this one doesn't work out so easily, so just plug it into the equation. This is your y number, this is your x number. Y is 12 equals what number times my x number? 7 times what number is 12?
Oh.
Doesn't work out evenly, so you just have to divide by 7, divide by 7. That is what your letter K is. And you just put that into the letter K right there. That's your equation. It's a linear equation. That's not bad. What's our thoughts? Easy test?
Yeah.
Stop recording.